Hey everyone, I'm back again with another video, and this one is titled, I Caught My Wife Cheating with Her Boss. I'm not sure of how to move on. Please make sure you like the video and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. Let's get right into it. Thanks for taking the time to read this. This thread was originally posted last night on r/relationships. However, due to very polarizing opinions, and probably to stop non-helpful answers to keep getting posted, the moderators locked the thread down and pointed me to your community. Thank you all for being here. Let me share my story. For context, I'm a 28-year-old man, my wife is 29, and her boss is a 34-year-old man. My wife and I have been together for almost 10 years. We got married almost 5 years ago, and we've been through a lot together. We met in college. I took extra classes to catch up so we could graduate together, and we did in 2012. Soon after graduating, I saved some money to study a game design program in Canada, and I invited her to come with me. The easiest way for Canada to let her in was for us to marry, so I proposed and we got married 3 months after, almost a couple of weeks before starting our new life in Canada. Everything was magical and great for a while, since everything was new for us. Slowly, studying started to take over more and more of my time, since the school I enrolled into was very intensive and demanding. I was willing to put all of my time and energy into it, since the successful completion of the program would determine my chances of landing a job in the industry. This, of course, made her feel lonely and cast aside. This was one of the first challenges we faced together, and they only kept getting tougher and more complicated. This, in a way, tempered us and taught us to communicate better as a couple. It forced us to state our long-term goals as individuals, and it made our differences very clear to work on, so we did. I eventually got the job I so hard fought for, and things slowly improved and the relationship went through some ups and downs, but never getting completely unendurable, just until last year. It was clear that some of our differences as a couple were getting easier to agree upon, but there were some fundamental differences that always present. So I decided to tolerate until I found myself resenting the amount of emotional work I was subjecting myself in order to have just a single weekend of not arguing. This eventually made me feel like I was married to a little sister trying to tippy-toe among eggshells in order to avoid an argument. My libido was completely non-existent, and I was desperately trying to figure out why. This is where the snowball first started rolling down the hill. I couldn't stop looking at her like she was asking for too much out of me, and I could feel myself falling in a vicious cycle, turning me away from what I had fought for so long. I just grew more and more resentful towards my decisions. Eventually, I felt completely out of touch, and I started just cruising with only my work and my hobbies to carry me through the routine. She communicated how alone she felt, and with whatever energy I had left, I tried to tell her maybe this was all temporary and that this cycle was particularly dark, but we would eventually rise together and feel better again. Last week, it all felt like driving into ice-cold water when I found out. I saw a text message from her boss flashing on her computer. It was late, and she had told me that she went dancing with her friends, so this was a red flag, and I couldn't help myself but click on it and open the conversation. I read so many things I wish I didn't. I could feel my heart sinking and pumping faster and faster as I scrolled down the whole conversation. She was saying how his sister could see him caressing her knee, and eventually I found a message from him confirming contact. Just playing it back in my head makes me nauseous. I wish I knew things were that bad before. After that night, I had a day to myself to think, and I confronted her after. She confessed everything. Tears were rolling down her face while doing so, and I was just stunned. I couldn't show any emotions at that moment. I was very scared and disappointed. I took it all in and gave her two choices. We could end everything right there and then and sort our stuff so we could move away, or we could put the relationship on standby and keep living together while we figure out what to do, with the condition that she would have to give her 2 weeks notice and quit her job. She decided to try the latter. It's been a week and change. This definitely woke us out of our comfort zones, and things started off getting better for each of us. Seeing her as something I could lose made me want to fight for something that I took for granted, and my libido suddenly returned. I missed looking at her like that. But what happened is completely wrong and conflicting. We have been through so much, and we've decided to fight for this for so long. I'm convinced that what we used to have was somewhat rare, and I'm willing to fight for it. But fear is always present now, and I'm constantly debating whether I'm making the right decision or not. I feel like just throwing all of it away is childish, especially now that things have been slowly improving. I told her I can't truly pardon her, but I understand why she felt the way she did. What happened is just the symptom of the state of the relationship, and I will admit that it could have been me in her position, when things got dark for me. Where do I draw the line? Am I being idealistic? Is this a pattern that will only repeat itself once we find ourselves within our comfort zones and into the valley of our relationship cycle? And the first comment says, so apparently you caught her and her affair as opposed to her honesty coming to you and confessing. The only reason I bring that up is because it's rather important as to whether or not she's truly remorseful and willing to try. Do you care to share some of the details of the affair, as in how long it was, and if it was physical? Has she quit the job? As others have already pointed out, it's honorable of you to want to work past her cheating, but it's also very important that she realizes there is consequences. Consequences such as she quits this job immediately. If this douchebag that manipulated his employee is married, you contact the wife. Given the nature of society right now, I believe you should also alert this guy's human resources department. Absolutely require her to take a full STD screening as soon as possible. Full transparency with all of her social media, including text messaging and emails. Some of this may sound harsh, but it's important for her to realize the trust and respect she has was broken. And the OP replied, when she told me everything that happened, she stated that she felt lonely and abandoned. She mentioned that she missed having someone to connect with, and she and her boss started becoming good friends. Back then, I even knew, but I never imagined it could have been anything else. I even met him and thought he was a smart and meticulous person. She then said that he would take her on long walks, and she missed all of that. Now, she's always being naive and trusting, so she voiced that she wasn't truly expecting those walks and time spent to really mean anything more than just two friends having a nice time. I doubt this. When this evolved into a full affair to me was when they attempted to be intimate with each other. I say attempted because she stands by the fact that it never really happened because her body wouldn't let her. She says her body and heart were thinking of me all the time, so nothing ended up happening. I obviously have no proof of this, and I still have a hard time believing her. She gave her notice almost 2 weeks ago, so I was expecting her to start closing circles. She mentioned that he was going to leave, which I can accept as well. I'm hoping to hear more about what is going to happen this weekend. And the commenter replied, well, thank you for sharing some of the details. As you're very well aware of not being able to trust anything right now, that they did engage physically, thus the suggestion that she gets an STD screening. She can deny the physical aspects, but asking her to take the test is one of the consequences that she realizes that you can't trust your word. You stated that she's still thinking of leaving. Are you referring to the marriage? And if so, do you feel like she doesn't want to reconcile at this time? How long do you believe the emotional affair lasted? And the OP replied, oh yeah, let me rephrase that last paragraph, it is poorly worded. She gave her work her leave notice almost 2 weeks ago, so I was expecting her to start closing circles at her job. Yesterday she mentioned that her boss was planning to leave the company, which I can accept as an alternate solution that doesn't require her to quit her job. I just want to put as much distance as I can between them. I'm hoping to hear more about the situation this weekend. I believe it lasted for around 3 to 4 weeks. They only used to be friends to each other before and go out for drinks with all of their coworkers. And the commenter replied, thanks for clarifying the job issue. The fact that she already knows about this employment plans almost suggests that they are still in contact. Did she ever clarify the incident where he was getting handsy with her in front of his sister? How are you doing as far as support? Have you been able to reach out to family or friends to talk about this? It's important that you do, despite what you may be feeling as it being an embarrassing situation. Obviously, you can keep coming back here and talking to this site. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you like the video and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss any of our future videos, and be sure to comment below what other subreddits you want me to cover.